I'm Manveen Rana, Innovations Editor here at Hub Culture at Davos 2024, and I'm joined today by the team from Sustainable IT. Introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Ralph Loura. I'm the chairman of the board for Sustainable IT.
And I'm Josh Harbert. I'm the founder and president of sustainableIT.org.
And Josh, just give us a sense of what Sustainable IT does.
Yeah, we're a global community of technology leaders, really with a passion around sustainability, and it's extremely important that the technology leadership and technology leader voices are elevated on the global stage. And we saw there being a pretty big gap between the conversations that were happening and really technology leaders' participation in those dialogues. So we formed a nonprofit and led by CIOs and other technology leaders, really with a mission of advancing global sustainability through technology leadership.
And what are you hoping to achieve while you're here in Davos?
Well, first and foremost, making some connections, really beginning to understand who's doing what in the space, how we can accelerate and amplify each other's work, and then from there, building a bigger presence next year and continuing to build momentum around the movement.
Is this part of growing the alliance?
Yeah, absolutely. We're only about 2 years old, and we already have a very active board. We've got a number of member companies, about 60 or so member companies, who've signed on to the initiative and signed on to the work. And it's about expanding on that and growing that to have a bigger global input.
And just tell me a bit about your experience before Sustainable IT and how you came to be the president.
Great. Well, yeah, absolutely. We were watching an awards ceremony a few years ago, and me and the founder of Delphix, Jedediah Ewa, and we were amazed at the stories that were being told. But the story that wasn't being told was around sustainability. And we felt, what if we could get the stories of the greatness that a lot of these CIOs were doing for their businesses, for their nations and for the world, and get it out there. So we decided that there's a need to develop a community to where we could celebrate those successes, where we could author best practices, where we could build a standard that everyone can believe in, but most importantly, the collaboration that happens between CIOs, technology leaders, and other aspects of the business to advance those conversations together instead of trying to do it alone.
And what about you?
Well, and so I had a career as a CIO. So I spent most of my career as a CIO in various industries and various size companies. And one of the things about the CIO community is the CIOs that sort of get it, that are effective, that really rise to the top in the organizations, see these sort of trends coming on, understand where they can engage, where maybe others don't. And we've seen it with digital transformation. We saw it with mobile before that, with the internet before that, and so on. And this seems like one of those pivots where there does need to be a much more active conversation and role of IT leaders in the ESG work that most companies have underway. A lot of CIOs don't see it yet, and we thought it was time to kind of shake it up and get people involved.
There has been a sense that ESG is falling out of fashion slightly. A lot of businesses sort of moving away from it.
Yeah.
How are you combating that?
Well, so we're not an ESG, we're not here about marketing your ESG work, right? So our view is the reason that you do digital transformation for example, wasn't because it was cool, it was the shiny object. The reason you do it is because it had net value to your company. And our view is that ESG work has net value to the companies of these leaders. Because, for instance, if you're not manufacturing something, the odds are that the largest ESG footprint in your company stems from your technology use. It's your data center, your software, your network, your tech refresh of your laptop, your cell phone. So it's that kind of consumption, that kind of architecture and thinking that needs to be revisited. And by doing that effectively, not only can you help improve the environment, but you can do so while improving the bottom line and creating value for your company.
And are you still optimistic that sustainability does still matter to businesses? We have seen this sort of slight peddling away. We've seen some governments even moving away from their targets. Do you think it's still making a difference?
Yes, although some are reframing their targets, I think that there's still those that are super passionate around the impact sustainability should make, but there's also still the CSRD, there's other regulations and reporting requirements that companies can't shy away from that have very real ramifications and fines for not living up to those standards. So they have to do something. They're urged to do something. So There's those that do it because it's important, and those are the early adopters and members of sustainable IT. And there's those that will be laggards that are required to do it because of the regulatory pressures that are on them. But when it's all said and done, it's going to be a part of how people do business down the line. It's just going to be a part of defining projects, the way they think about investments, how we look at innovation, the climate, social goals, and how we govern that is absolutely going to be important for years to come.
Well, Josh and Ralph, thanks very much for joining us here at Davos. I'm Manveen Rana.